Hello everyone. Today we are back with another presentation, and that is poem 2.5. I hope you are enjoying our video sessions. This is presented by FF Creations. FF Creations is also known as Fantastic Four Creation. This is an effort taken by four friends from different colleges in Mumbai. Together with this collaborative effort, we have tried to provide you educational videos which will help not only the students but also the teachers of English language. So are you ready to take the journey with us? Today we are moving to poem 2.5, Father Returns Home by Dilip Chitri. So are you ready? So let's read the original poem before understanding it. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. His eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the great platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onwards. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hairs on his wrist. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep, listening to the static on the radio, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. So this was the poem. Now let's see about poet Dilip Chitri. Dilip Chitri, 1938 to 2009, was a celebrated bilingual poet and translator with a remarkable work in Marathi and English. He was a bilingual writer. His versatile creativity extends to painting, filmmaking, and his notable contribution as a magazine columnist. He received the prestigious Sahitya Academy Award both for poetry as well as for his well-known translation work, says Tuka. Popular Abhangas, also known as spiritual poems by Sant Tukaram. He had started translation of literary work of saints in Marathi at the age of 16. Exile, alienation, self-disintegration, and death are observed to be the major themes of his work. What is exile? Best example I can give you here is Rama went to forest. So that was an exile for Lord Rama. Alienation, drifting apart. When you don't have anybody to share your problems, you feel you are very lonely. You start moving away from others. That's alienation. Self-disintegration. When does this process take place? When you feel you're aloof, there is no one to share your problem. there is no one you can confide on, there is no shoulder you can lean on, then the process of disintegration starts. In another simple word, which all of us are familiar, we can call it as depression. And ultimately death, which all of us know. These are the common or the major themes of Dilip Chitre's work. Now let's see, father returning home, what theme does this poem have? There should be an underlining theme. Now what is the underlying theme? Let us see. This poem is taken from Travelling in Cage. It draws a portrait of a suburban commuter. Who's a commuter? A person who travels for work. It depicts his dull, monotonous. What is monotonous? Same routine happening again and again. Same thing. The daily, mundane thing. Daily, the same thing is happening. That's called as monotonous. Exhausting, tiresome, and equally pitiable daily routine. Absolutely pitiable daily routine, because for a middle class, the routine is the same. Nothing changes. So that's the daily pitiable routine of a middle class family. It describes a forced alienation at home. Even at home, there is nobody to confide, there is nobody to talk to. So again, the process of disintegration not only is there outside in the society, but it is also seen within the home, which is reflected through the stale food and lack of sharing. His children refuse to share their joys and sorrows with the hard-working father, who as a result is forced to retire into solitude. Even children don't want to share their problems with the father. Now this could be either that they don't feel very close to the father, they have a very strict or disciplined routine in their home, or might be the generation gap, which we call as, there's a huge generation gap. This very painful loneliness is a symbol of man's isolation from the materialistic man-made world. When there is nobody you can confide on, when there is nobody with whom you can share your problems, as slowly the process of disintegration starts and man starts moving away from the materialistic world. The world is very, very materialistic. Everybody has their own problems. Everybody is busy. Nobody has time for anybody in this world. We should know this very, very well. So slowly, when there is nobody to confide, you start moving into your own world. I can say you start moving within yourself. You start going into a cocoon of your mind. So that begins the process of disintegration, and which can even lead to depression. Okay, so here you can see the cage, the train. You can see this is taken from Travelling in Cage. So a train, and then the windows just like a cage over there. So now let's have a look at the summary of the poem. Now the summary of the poem is in 2 stanzas. So let us see what the first stanza conveys. The poem begins with the father travelling home late evening in train from suburbs. The father is travelling home in a train to his home. He is going homewards now in the train. Now right in the first line, Chitre says, my father travels on the late evening train. My. See, the first person narration in the poem is in. His clothes are shabby and mud stained. Now the clothes are dirty, shabby, untidy. It's not very well kept, because once you enter the train, the crowd will never allow you to be that tidy. The way you are dressed, everything gets crumbled in that crowd, because it's absolutely crowded in a suburban train. Another thing which Chitre tells over here is, there are lots of people, there are a lot of commuters in the train, and the compartment has a yellow light. Now it's a beautiful imagery used by Chitre over here. If you notice, yellow light. How is the light in the compartment in the evening? You feel it's very dull. It's not that bright as the normal light. It's very dull. So here he is conveying that old age is also just like a yellow light. Very, very dull. It's not that energetic. Because as you old, you will lose your strength. You lose your power, you lose that confidence. So that yellow light is basically a symbol of old age over there. Okay, then he passes to various suburb station and nothing interests him because daily he sees those situations, and daily what you see, you are never interested in the thing which you have been seeing day in and day out. You are bored of seeing the same old things again and again. Okay, so his clothes, remember his clothes is also muddy. Now why is it muddy? We will see ahead. He has a bag which is filled with books that seem to fall. He has a bag which is loaded with books, and in the crowded train with the bag on your shoulder with books, first of all it is very difficult to stand in the crowded train. On top of that you have got a bag loaded with books. You just see the condition, and especially father is also very old. You have to keep that point in mind. Okay, and he is old and has all the physical symptoms of old age. All the physical symptoms of old age. What are the physical symptoms of old age? Basically, eyesight becomes weak. You don't have that energy. You cannot lift lot of weight. Okay, that much confidence is not there. These are some of the symptoms of old age. And then it's rainy season. See, mud stained. Now why the cloth is muddy? Because of the rainy season. There are other images given for rainy season in the poem. That's the poet is saying black raincoat. Okay, then the poet is talking about the humidity of the monsoon night. These are all symbols of rainy season, images of rainy season from the poem. His chappals are sticky with mud. Again, this is a symbol of rainy season. Chappals are muddy over there. So these are all the symbols which is used by Chitre to portray the monsoon season or the rainy season. Then there is another sentence which is given, like a word dropped from long sentences. Father's getting down like words dropped from a long sentences. What happens when once you become old? In fact, you become more wise. You become more understanding. And therefore, you need not speak much. Your sentences tend to become words because you have gained lot of wisdom through your experiences in old age. So he's become a man of few words, you can say. Another symbol again used by the poet is the grey platform. Have you seen the platform? The platform is usually grey in color. The tile or the concrete which the platform has is grey in color. Now here grey also has an image within it. Grey can mean the old population, which we also call as the grey population. Another instance of grey is that grey is dull color. It's not that robust or that energetic color. Those bright colors are energetic, but grey is absolutely a dull color. So the old age is compared to the dull. The life in old age is dull, just like the platform. The platform is dull. Similarly, life in old age is also very dull, without any energy. That is what the poet is trying to convey. When father gets down to the platform, he crosses the railway line and he enters his home. He enters the gully which leads towards his home. So this is your first stanza. Can you see the image over here? The chappals muddy, and there you can have a pick. You can see a pick. Father standing with the bag in a train. So now let's move on to the second stanza and let us see what the second stanza conveys. The second stanza depicts the home scene. See, the first stanza depicted father's traveling scene, traveling from work towards home. Now the second stanza will show us the scenario, the scene at home. How is the scene at father's home? Okay, as soon as father comes, he has black tea. Okay, black tea, a reference in the text is given as weak tea. Now weak tea can either mean the tea is black, or it can mean a tea with less milk. So this is what is the significance to weak tea. Eating stale chapati. Father is eating a stale chapati. What is stale? Old chapati. So he dips the chapati in the tea and he has it while reading a book. Father is reading a book and having all these things. Okay, and after that, what does father do? He goes into the washroom, into the toilet, and there father sits and contemplates. He goes into deep thinking. Contemplate meaning deep thinking. He sits there, he starts thinking. And what is he thinking? Maybe he's thinking about the future. Maybe he's thinking about the ways to sort out his problems. Maybe he's thinking about what is stored for them next. All these. Here, father, being the head of the family, has to think a lot so that he can run the family very well. So, all this sitting in the toilet, he contemplates. And there, Chitre, the next line, Chitre has mentioned man's estrangement from a man made world. Father might also be thinking about moving away, alienating away from the man made world. This world, as I told you, nobody has time for anybody. Everybody has got their own problems, everybody has their own share of difficulties, and nobody has time to listen to you. Nobody has time to solve your problem, you and yourself. That is how the materialistic world is. So father too doesn't have anybody to share his problem with. So therefore father keeps thinking of how to come out of the problems. And then father comes out of the washroom, and what he does, he proceeds to the wash basin to wash his hand. And as soon as he opens the tap and he puts his brown hand below, cold water rushes us. And this cold water makes him tremble. Now remember one thing, cold water is not a sign of trembling over here in this poem. Trembling can even mean because of fear. When you have fear that how am I going to move ahead, what is going to be the next step, how am I going to solve my problem, this fear makes father's hand tremble when he puts it below the tap water. Okay, trembling in another instance also you can take. When you become old, you are not that strong, you are weak, your body tends to become weak, and at that time you start trembling. So cold water makes it tremble, old age makes it tremble, fear makes it tremble. But here, if you look into the inner meaning, the symbolic meaning, this trembling basically is due to fear. Nothing else, only due to fear. There are lots of problems. So the fear of how he is going to get out of those problems, that is what makes father shiver. He is devoid of emotions and is totally lost in his own world. Totally lost in his own world. No emotions at all, because nobody to share this problem. So no emotions at all. He is for his self. He doesn't confide in anybody. Okay. Then the children, another aspect which you see, the children in the home. What do the children do? Even though they too don't share their jokes, their fights, their secrets, they don't share anything with their father, because they feel that father doesn't have time for them. And slowly might be that father is not that free with the children, or children are scared of their father. It could be anything around over there. And slowly, when children don't share their problems and father never asks them about their problem, the process of disintegration in the family has already started. Children leading their own life, father leading his own life. So slowly the process of alienation has also started within the family. In the family also, the father feels he is lonely. The children also feel that they cannot share, they don't want to share the problems because father is not understanding. All this has started bringing about the disintegration of father within the family. Nobody has time. Now when nobody is there to talk, what does the father do? After all his daily routine, he then relaxes in the bed because he's so tired, working hard, working throughout the day, coming the crowded train. He's so tired, and also he's getting old, isn't it? So therefore he relaxes in the bed. And when he relaxes in the bed, what does he do? He puts on the radio. You can see this is an old model radio over there. And then his mind keeps wandering, dreaming. Dreaming of what? See, a poem tells you of ancestors. He may be dreaming of the past. Okay. Grandchildren. Grandchildren stands for future. Okay. Thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. Now, who are nomads? Nomads are Banjaras. And as though they are entering the subcontinent through a narrow path. Now, here nomad can mean your mind. Your mind is just like a nomad because your mind is never static. It keeps on moving and moving. Your thoughts keep on wandering in the mind. This and that, So it's never at one particular point, and it's entering slowly. The mind is trying to find out the light at the other end. That's the narrow pass. It's going to the narrow pass, trying to find out the light, or trying to locate the correct direction. His own thoughts, his mind is wandering in his own thoughts without a proper direction. There is no proper direction. One thought given way to another, and the mind is searching for the light at the other end, searching for the right path at the other end. So this is what the poet is trying to convey through this poem. It's a bit philosophical, but then it's got beautiful meaning, children. That's the reality of life. So now let us have an analysis of the poem. Let us see the style that is there in this poem. The poem consists of 2 stanzas with 12 lines each. If you see, the poem has 2 stanzas, and every stanza has 12 lines. So in all, there are 24 lines in the poem. It is written in free verse. What is free verse? All of you know that there is no rhyme scheme. And why there is no rhyme scheme? So that the emotions can flow continuously without a break. And this heightens the effect of the poem. When there is no rhyme scheme, there is no meter, and hence the poem becomes very close to human reality. So that is very, very important, which you have to note. Then the language used in the poem. When you read the poem has got very, very simple and easy to understand a language. Absolutely simple words have been used, and the language, it's very easy to understand the poem from superficially. Okay? But then the poem has got a deep inner meaning or symbolic meaning. I have already told you various imageries are there in the poem, and this really heightens the effect of the poem. Every imagery has got something to convey. Every image is used in the poem is trying to convey certain things to us. The poem is in the first person narrative. Okay, right in the beginning he says, "My father travels on the late evening trains," and you can even call it as an autobiographical poem. Okay, where the poet paints the sketch of his father. Pen picture of his father has been portrayed. Chitra has seen his father and is portraying the picture of his father returning home, and thereafter the routine which are undertaken by him, the works at home which are undertaken by him is shown, depicted by the poet. So is the poem clear? Okay, but before I move to the poetic devices, dear children, I have a small message for all of you. Life is a mixture of happiness and sorrows. And it's a common fact that when all of us are happy, we are very eager to share our joy with others. But then, when our life is full of sorrows, we are scared to share our problems. We hide the sorrow within ourselves, and this can lead to depression. This can lead to alienation or disintegration. So a small request, whenever you have a problem, kindly do share your problem with somebody whom you feel very close to you. Never keep the problem within your mind. There's a saying in English that when you share your joy, it is doubled. But when you share your problem, it is halved. So talk about your problem. Just don't keep the problem in your mind, carry the problem and pull on your life, because this will lead to depression. You can share your problem with your parents. If you feel you're not comfortable with your parents, you have your teachers. Any teacher in whom you can confide your problem, do share your problem. If you feel no, even that's not possible to you, you may be having a person, somebody close to you. Share those problems with the person who can give you a right solution, who can show you the true path, and this will surely help you move ahead in life. Never remain alone. Don't think that you are alone in this world, because if you start having that feeling, it will lead to depression, and then I need not tell you what are the difficulties which you will face. Always remember, life is a mixture of happiness and sorrow. And sorrows, if you look at from the positive side, sorrows teach us more than happiness. Sorrows make us strong. Sorrows build confidence in us. Sorrows help us fight. Sorrows help us to accept the challenges of our life. So from the positive angle, if you see, sorrows are there to develop our personality and to make us strong and fit to fight all the odds in life. So once again, students, I tell you, please do share your problems. Don't live with your problems. Okay, I think it's become too philosophical. No? Okay, so now let's go to the poetic devices. So what are the poetic devices we come across in this poem? All these poetic devices we have already studied. Now you need to identify and locate them. Now the poem makes use of simile, alliteration. You know what is a simile? A direct comparison with the help of words as and like. Alliteration, continuous repetition of the consonant sound, and then you have onomatopoeia, where from the word you can feel the sound. Apart from this poem has got lot of imagery. Already I have explained while I was doing the poem. Lot of imagery has been used in this poem to heighten the effect of the poem. Then, dear students, we have another question, which is compulsory in the board exam, and that's poetic creativity. So in this poem, what is creativity? Where you have to develop your own 4-line poems or 2-line poem depending on the activity that has been asked in the paper. It can either be a free verse or it can either have rhyme. Now what are the poetic creativity that can come from this poem? You can write a small poem, a 4-line poem, not to exceed more than 4. Okay? A 4-line poem on your father. You can give a pen picture of your father. You can again write a poem on your family. You can write a poem on the monsoon season. You can even compose a poem on, the crowd in the Mumbai train or traveling through Mumbai local. So these are some of the creativity topics that you can do from this particular poem. I hope all of you will practice and try it. I hope you enjoyed the session. Okay, so goodbye till the next lecture. Thank you.